I FOMO'd into MSTR yesterday. MicroStrategy is going to be the black hole of the financial markets on Friday. MicroStrategy stock was more traded than Facebook. $8 billion of trading.
Strategy outperformed Bitcoin, but you only get the number grab technology, not the freedom grab technology.
What happens if I get hit by a bus? My family maybe doesn't know that I have Bitcoin or doesn't know how to move the coins.
Hello, Stefan. How are you doing?
Hi, Robin. I'm really happy to meet you because I'm looking. I mean, I don't manage to see all your podcasts because you are doing a lot. But it's really interesting to see all the topic you're covering and your style. You're really very you're smooth and relaxed, and you go deep with your the people you interview. So, but actually you do your frequency is like one a day, right?
Yes, now I have one a day. Actually, today is a weird day because I have 3 recordings. Like I have 3 recordings today. But usually I have actually just one a day recording, one a day publishing. Takes a lot of time, but it's a really nice thing. And you're outside in Italy, right?
Yeah. Now it's good that you were talking. You were talking. I was not because there's a dog here. There's something mowing the lawn. But now we're gonna go into a place which is a bit more silent.
I like it. I never had a podcast where we did it outside. I think it's nice to like change up the environments and see
Yeah,
and stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
I
This
before
is.
we
I would say two things about that. One is a little tribute to Stephen Lupka, who loves to walk like 10 miles a day. And the
yeah
other thing is that it's a little bit to illustrate. I mean, it wasn't planned, but that Honey Badger doesn't give a damn. You just do your thing and do no harm, and there you go. I just hope that the camera doesn't move too much.
yeah it's good I think and it's like we're having a video call and we have a video like I think it's fine that format and I'm already looking forward to the feedback we get from the community. That I think a change of views, a change of scenes is always good.
Yeah.
But let's start right into the questions. I want to discover today self-custody because you work for the Bitcoin Advisory. I think 2 podcasts ago, I had actually Peter Dunworth on. So it will be
Okay.
published like 2 or 3 days before you, which is also really interesting. And we also want to cover today for how much Bitcoin you have, what self-custody solution would be best for you. But before I want to get into that topic, I saw one tweet of yours that I wanted to cover first, that you bought MicroStrategy stocks. Is that right?
Yeah. In fact, I wonder whether it was like the spark that started the fire on Bitcoin Twitter, because after that it exploded in all directions. Maybe it was just. It could be that it was a coincidence, but it's not important. I just tweeted. I FOMO'd into MSTR yesterday. You know, just that, and it got like 50 comments or something like that, which is. I felt that it triggered people a little bit. So there were some reactions of yes, me too, and others, you're gay because you're not a real pleb and stuff. So at the end, for the last 48 hours, there's a really interesting discussion going on, whereas this is more signal or more noise. And in the end, I think that everybody can do whatever they want again. And but I really think that MSTR inside the financial markets is a different animal in the same way that Bitcoin is a different animal in the asset classes market. I think that MicroStrategy is going to be the black hole. It has a potential to be the black hole of the financial markets, since everything, as you know, is denominated in an inferior denomination, which is the US dollar or any other fiat currency. And the genius mechanism of Michael Saylor, which I'm not going to go too much into I'm not even able to describe fully how he acts. But basically, he uses number go up technology to have his stock go up and to leverage his stock to buy more Bitcoin. So it's never ending loop. So I just bought like 3 shares. I said it was but one, but the day after it dumped a little bit, so I bought 2, and I will stay there. I mean, just 3 is okay, just to participate to the GameStop-like thing that could happen. Also because I think that on other social networks, people are starting to talk about MicroStrategy. It's in the top 3 of one of the websites that talk about stocks. I like in mentioning. And incredible data. I don't know whether you saw that, Robin, yesterday, but on Friday, MicroStrategy stock was more traded than Facebook,
Wow.
with $8 billion of trading on Friday. So I think that we're gonna have fun. So I just bought the stock a little bit to just to signal my support of the speculative attack that Michael Saylor is doing to the markets. I mean, to the dollar, sorry, and to help the eventual short squeeze, because there's about 20% of the floating which is being shorted, and it's increasing. And when you look at the comments from people who short it, it shows they don't understand this. You understand? I mean, they just short it because they have the standard view, the fiat view that doesn't see, that can't measure the MicroStrategy strategy from inside the system. You know, to quote Jeff Booth. So there you are.
And you also said about the Michael Saylor speculative attack on the dollar. It's interesting for me his stance on the dollar, because he says that, oh, if you save in the dollar, you're a poor person on the one hand, but he also says that dollar not necessarily has to go away. He says like Bitcoin does not has to become a medium of exchange. How do you see that? Like, first of all, like what do you think of his comments, and do you also see it like him that the dollar will always be there, or will Bitcoin just take over at some point in like 20, 50, 100 years?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, because I have I don't have I mean a certain a strong opinion on that. First of all, I would say that we could argue that when Michael Saylor goes on TV, he thinks about the audience, he thinks about eventual regulators or who are watching him. So he's not going to say, yeah, I'm going to destroy everything and so forth. But it could be. Ciao, Reginaldo.
Ciao,
Ciao.
ciao.
Ciao, caro. It could be that he means what he says, which means that you save in Bitcoin and you spend in whatever. In the end, I mean, the guy in front of you wants dollar, you give him dollars, which could be that through like apps like Strike or stuff like that can change your Bitcoin into any synthetic fiat currency. No issue. The important thing is the bottom, is what you have as the underlying asset underneath. Then the medium of exchange, I think it has a relative importance. Having said that, even though Bitcoin has all the characteristics of money, but it's too early to call it money, I agree with that, because although it's already accepted on all continents and in all countries in the world, it's still very marginal. So you need everybody, or many people, to own Bitcoin throughout the world, who will start to demand Bitcoin as payment. And in the end, again, if I'm in Europe and I ask for Bitcoin already, I'm sure that you like to be paid in Bitcoin more than in euro yourself. I don't know, in Austria. And if you pay me in euro, I'm going to change. I'm going to become fiat poor 1 second afterwards, and
Yeah.
just swap into Bitcoin. So there you go.
Yeah, I think it also it depends on the, the place you are in right now. Because if you have in El Salvador, you can spend, for example, when you're in Austria, you would have to spend taxes every time you spend with Bitcoin, because there
Mhm.
are capital gains tax in Austria on
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
this is an issue. I agree.
So you just like you have to see where you are and what your personal setup is right now. But
Absolutely.
you can always move. Like you can always like, oh, then I move to a country where there's no capital tax. And it's also interesting that MicroStrategy outperformed Bitcoin. But for the bigger outperformance, obviously you don't get you only get the number grab technology, not the freedom grab technology. So I
Yeah.
always say,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you want to be in MicroStrategy, okay, do it with like 1%, maybe like 5% to just like maybe have a little bit faster stack even then. But Bitcoin is quite fast. Like it's like you
Yeah.
don't need it.
Oh no, of course. Yeah, I agree that you don't need to, stay humble. Stack sats also means uh, you can afford being satisfied of Bitcoin parabolic moves. I mean, it's good enough to have like I don't know 7% CAGR or something. I don't know where it is, but um, yeah, I understand Bitcoiners who say that Bitcoin is just money and that it obsoletes gambling, it obsoletes trading, it obsoletes many ways of what we consider investing. So why bother with MicroStrategy, which is just a stock, and which in ultimately are you going to use it like crypto, you know, crypto just pumps to get more Bitcoin? This is a question that I am asking myself also, because as we know, MicroStrategy outperforms Bitcoin. But when the bear market comes, if it ever comes, because if you're talking about a black hole and so forth, it never ends. I mean, the trend never ends. So this is another question that we could ask ourselves: is it the life cycle or not? I think that human psychology does never changes. So there again, I don't have a strong opinion on that, but I don't think it's the life cycle. Certain point is gonna go vertical. Hopefully, there's no like China ban stuff or that will just cut off the blow off top. Let's see. But I mean, in the long run, price is the least interesting thing, right? About Bitcoin is the FGU that counts, freedom.
Absolute. And if the price goes up, and then you have Bitcoin that actually has to be secured somehow. And this is, I think, the best topic to talk about with you. And I have it on the podcast regularly because I think self custody is such an important topic. So I regularly invite people to talk on the podcast about self custody solution, what they should do. And I thought about today that we can structure it in different segments. Because if you have $500 in Bitcoin, you need a different setup if you have $500,000 in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So let's take like the first step. Uh, what do you recommend people to have a self custody solution under $1,000? Do you even recommend them to have a self custody solution? If what is the dollar value or the Satoshi value you would say, okay, now you have to get a self custody solution, like your
Yeah,
first wallet, your first whatever.
yeah. I think that first of all, no financial advice is more technical, or I mean, anybody. I think that people should gather information and decide for themselves. And the amount of monetary units also is very relative. Like $1,000 could be a lot for me and nothing for you. So maybe you could reason in percentage of your portfolio, your age, your risk appetite, and things like that. But in general, and it's good also that you divide the custody categories into non and self. And in the end, the several levels are, first of all, where do I buy Bitcoin? In general, unless I buy P2P, which would mean that I really have problems based on where I live, or I'm already a little bit, not a geek, but maybe a privacy uh, fan or something. In general, I buy Bitcoin on an exchange, right? And on an exchange, you can really buy from $10 to 1 million. And this is where things already get interesting, because so an exchange such as Binance and Coinbase and Kraken and all the rest, this is where it's not your keys, not your coins. So your Bitcoin is not your Bitcoin, because it's exactly the same concept as your euro or your dollars or your pounds to be a bank account where you see your name. So you see your name, but it's just an IOU. So because the keys are not yours, you move the value of your investment or your stack, provided that those people accept to do it. So to put like an amount, I would say roughly from 0 to 100 to 500 euro or dollar, you can keep it there. But if your reasoning then is to stack regularly, you can talk about DCA too. Then what you can do is to withdraw your Bitcoin. We could also talk about, yeah, okay, just so you can withdraw your Bitcoin to an address, which is still very easy to use, because you can say, okay, I'm not an expert. I just started dabbling into Bitcoin. I start understanding that self-custody is important, but I'm not a techie or whatever. And I'm not going to buy let's keep it simple. I want to move my coins to an address that I control and that's easy to use. And there you think about the Bitcoin only apps, such as Relay. Okay, number one, I am in Europe. So if you're in Europe, it's easier to think about Relay because it's not available yet on other continents. And I'm part of Relay Squad. But you have also Coinfinity, I think, in Austria, right?
Yes, in Austria we have Confinity and 21 Bitcoin as Bitcoin only exchanges.
Exactly. By the way, I wanted to put my 21 Bitcoin t-shirt because of my 100 push-up challenge that I won in Madeira. So you move your coins from like Binance to Relay, and this is quite easy to do. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but it's just to use the Bitcoin blockchain. And maybe, by the way, now you can also use like the Lightning Network from specifically from Binance to Relay. I should try it, by the way. And so what do I mean is that apps, Bitcoin only apps such as Relay are what we call non-custodial hot wallets. Okay, so it means what? That it's your keys, but you're still on the internet. So it's theoretically hackable. Nothing has happened yet, but it's not the very best level of security. So even like if Relay one day had problems, or you still have your app and you can still move your coins. So this is absolutely fundamental. But in the end, when you talk about the people of Bitcoin only hot wallet non-custodial, which means you custody your coins. They themselves say, please feel free to move your coins from us because we are a reasonable level. We offer a livable uh, uh, level security, but it's not the top level of security. So what would the next level be? So first of all, talking about amounts, like on Relay, on such an app, you could have like between, I'm just putting numbers, but 1,000 to 10,000, for example. Let's say, 10,000. This justify an extra level of security, and this is where the hardware wallet kicks in, and this is a physical object that we also call a signing device, because in the end, it's just a signing device. And this is where it justifies, your stack justifies the purchasing of a physical object. Because a Bitcoin only app, going back to there, is free. You just download the app and the cost is zero because you have your phone already. But once you have like several thousands euro, dollars, or pounds, you say, I can spend like 100 euro, dollar, pounds. It will mean it is going to be $100 yet less of sats, but it's not a problem because like it's like an insurance, you know. So you say, okay, it's absolutely worth spending 100 to gain more tranquility. Then the next step, and this is where TBA kicks in, is okay, I'm a Bitcoiner. I know how to handle my signing device. My family kicks me out of the WhatsApp group because I talk about Bitcoin too much, and they don't want to know or to listen to you, especially anymore. Charako. And so what happens if I get hit by a bus? My family maybe doesn't know that I have Bitcoin or doesn't know how to move the coins. And this is very serious. So how do you solve the problem? The solution would be multisig, which means that to move your coins, you need several signatures. But I'm going to concentrate, if I may, on TBA solution, which is the following, or to put it simply, it's tendentially a 2 of 3 multisig, where we remove as much as we can because the perfect solution does not exist. It's all about trade-offs, you know. But I think it's the closest solution to perfection. So even Bitcoin is not perfect, you know. It's just the best. It removes the single point of failure, which means that even if I die and that my family is not able to move the coins, and that my family didn't even know that I had Bitcoin, they will have access to the coins. How? Um, there's a procedure of onboarding where we ask the customer or the client to buy, for example, Trezor. I mean, we are absolutely platform agnostic, you know, or platform agnostic to buy the Bitcoin, and hardware wallet agnostic to buy the okay. So we tendentially ask the clients to buy Trezor because it's a very good compromise between ease of use and cost and security. because of course the air-gapped cold card is super cool, and we acknowledge that it's one of the best and so forth, but it's not easy to use objectively, and Trezor is good enough, and I have a BitBox, for example, and this is, I think it's a good one too. Ledger is fine as long as you don't go on DAOs and things like that. So I wouldn't bury Ledger completely, Then I don't want either to publicize or to criticize hardware wallets singularly, because there again, everybody finds their own shoe to their own feet, depending on what I said, so prices of use, security, and so forth. So basically, going back to TBA solution, so you client have your own key, you have your stack there. You don't want to get hit by a bus, of course, but you organize yourself and you prepare for the worst. So in the end, TBA has a second key, and our technology provider, our multisig provider, which could be Unchained. It's mainly Unchained at the moment. It could be Nunchuck, for example. They hold the third key. So the client or their beneficiaries will just have to use two of the three keys to move the coins. Okay. And sorry. So two of three is okay. And what that entails is that even if you are still alive, but you lose your keys, there's no issue, because you can use TBAs and the technology provider's key, which are still two. Then if we have, as TBA, a problem because private company and anything can happen, there are still ways for you cryptographically, not going to go into the details, to get access to the keys. And then you can ask, wait a minute, your family doesn't even know that you have Bitcoin and they will have access to it? How does that work? I mean, like magic? And the answer is just that we set up, or we help clients set up their talk with the notary, so that when the notary opens the envelope of what goes to the family, that you have the correct information that will allow the clients to know that that the Bitcoin is there, is accessible. And then they contact TBA, and TBA help them get back the control of the coins. So unfortunately, we had since 2016 5 opportunities, let's say, to verify that it works. So the pleb passed away, unfortunately. The family contacted us, and the coins were recovered. So 0 sats lost. And just chronologically, just to tell you that TBA has been existing for 1 year only, roughly, like early 2023. But the service has been existing for 7 years now. So 2016, because Peter Dunworth, I'm sure he told you already, but he's been managing a multifamily office in Australia for 17 years or something, and he's been offering this multisig custodial service since 2016. So to his normie clients, let's call it, not necessarily Bitcoiners. And so his AUM now is about $1 billion US, and about 10% of that is in Bitcoin. And for a year, this service, which has been existing again for years, is now available globally to anybody, you and me included.
21 Bitcoin is Bitcoin only from day one, and they teach and preach self-custody. This is my go-to exchange when someone asks me, oh, where can I buy my Bitcoin from? This is the easiest entry for Bitcoiners. And if you want lower fees, plus at the same time support this podcast, use code Robin and click the link in the description. Yeah, that's amazing. And I think the importance is that we have self custody, especially if we're talking about 500 euros dollars or 1,000 euros dollars more than that. And then the important part comes, and that's why we need multi-signature solutions. The first part is, as you said, when you die, but there's also the risk of eliminating all the single point of failures. Because if you have everything at home and someone breaks in, fortunately, the physical break-ins get less and less over time because people know there's more and more in the cloud and less value actually in the house, but they're still happening. Then, especially if someone gets to know your address and they actually have it's known that you have Bitcoin. Then there's a single point of failure because they can come home, they can search, or even like you have it at home, someone finds it, like even like a friend finds it and gets like the 24 word list. Like there's so many things to it that are risk associated, where you have a multi-signature solution with 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5, whatever your preferred solution is. It's a benefit from you. And of course, this is something you need to set up once, and you need it to set up good. And there is like the Bitcoin advisory that helps you. You can obviously do it on your own also. Or there's other companies, and there's a lot of possibilities you can do it. But the important part is that you actually get to know your situation and that you try to get the best setup possible for you, because everyone has a different setup. Everyone is like, someone wants to get one key to a trusted family member, maybe because maybe they keep family savings in there. Someone just wants to be on his own, and maybe like what do you actually think of having multi-signature deposits, but like where you have like maybe 5 keys and you put like 1 or 2 in a safe deposit box in a bank? Do you also recommend that, doing that?
Well, I wouldn't recommend it myself because I am myself, and everybody has their own needs. But I would say that it reduces nicely risks on some aspects, like for example, if you're under duress, you know that somebody tells you, "Give me your keys, so I'm going to $5 rent attack you." Maybe this could be a nice solution. And by the way, we have means ourselves to solve that problem, because we have set up some tactics to agree with the clients that if we organize a video call and they are under duress with a guy with a handgun behind them, we have codes, like visual codes, to make understand that we understand that the person is under duress, and we're not going to move the coins. And in the contract, we have also we have a specific line where we are not going to move the coins in those situations. So to answer your question, yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's always better than keeping them on Binance, for sure.
Everything is better than keeping it on Binance, I think.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm going to tell you a short story which is shocking. I'm not going to tell you who it is, of course, but I know somebody who had a a problem of an explosion in the apartment.
Mhm.
And it was so strong that all the clothes and the stuff were basically landed in the neighbor's apartment.
Wow.
And then he had to move country and so forth. And in the end, he told me that he has his coins on Coinbase, which was quite surprising. So
Yeah.
I think that there are still many people and who have many coins who are not yet, don't have the sensitivity. I mean, they the word education, which I heard a lot in Madeira, is probably the word that I heard the most, which is very nice because it's fundamental. is education. And I think that everybody needs education, included many people who have many coins, you know. It's not because you have many coins that you are more educated than others, I think.
Definitely
Especially
not.
now that 2024, I think, is going to be the beginning of the visible mass adoption. And people like boomers or such who are not lazy, so who are not going to buy these spot ETFs, they buy their coins and maybe they don't realize all this, you know, self-custody fundamental aspect of Bitcoin, which is one of the reasons why Bitcoin exists. You know, it's you own your money and you hold it yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's still astonishing to me that people, I know several people that have Bitcoins, that even have high amounts of Bitcoins, and they hold it on Coinbase because they don't care. They're like, they can take better care of my coins than me. And I'm like, first of all, there are solutions out there that help you if you want to just pay for a service like the Bitcoin Advisory, like also you mentioned Nunchuck, Unchained, there's Casa. There are so many services out there that help you get over the hurdle that you don't have to educate yourself too much. I still recommend everybody to get educated. Like this is the first part, no matter with whom you're working, no matter what you're doing with your Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's a new paradigm.
Educated.
So a new paradigm, by definitions, have many aspects that change completely your worldview. And self-custody, which means self-responsibility, is a new thing because I think that people just lost their ability to be free somehow. You know, freedom is scary because it entails individual responsibility, where in the case of Bitcoin you don't have anybody to call, you know, in case of an issue. So you have to educate yourself. It's fundamental. Yeah.
What do you think of more advanced tools like buying Bitcoin, no KYC, peer-to-peer, coin mixing them,
Yeah.
UTXO management, the things that people, Bitcoiners learn above self-custody? What do you think of those
Yeah,
topics?
I think it's all there again. It's all important for their own reasons, and it's just part of the natural path of learning. You know, because if you think about like P2P, if you're European, you basically don't give a damn. You just go on the exchange, and there you go. If you're in autocratic, hyperinflationist, I don't know what, south of the world countries and so forth, where, by the way, they're already used to use P2P logics, then you go to, RoboSats, you go to Huddle Huddle, you go to, there's one that I would like to mention, because 3, 4, 6 months ago, I just tweeted, I want to buy P2P. What do you recommend me? And I was happy to see that many people answered. And you know that about half of the answers were Vexel, VEXL. Have you ever heard of them?
Yes, they will come on my podcast soon. I don't know when exactly, but I think we already set a date with them, and they will come on the podcast in the next like 10, 20,
Excellent
30
stuff.
episodes.
This is very good because I think that they deserve more visibility. Where basically you have like buy Bitcoin, sell Bitcoin. But in the end, if you want to sell potatoes, it's you click on buy Bitcoin. You know, it's like you want Bitcoin inwards. And yeah, in Madeira, I talked with Charlene Fadirepo, who's American, and she's also active in Africa. And during the party, there's a guy from Vexel. Unfortunately, I can't remember what his name was, but we started a discussion between Charlene, who is active in Africa, and him. So let's hope that Vexel goes like on the radar also in Africa. I think it's available there also. Just to give more optionality to folks like in Nigeria, where the government started again to create problems with Bitcoin and all that stuff. Then you were asking Robin about, for example, UTXO management.
Yes.
So I'm not going to make a course now, but UTXO management is really important because I mean, especially if you have small stacks, because it just might generate a situation in which your stack is blocked because it's not worth moving it anymore because it's going to cost you more moving the coins than the value of your stack itself. And how can that happen? I mean, unless you're on the Lightning Network already. So if you are on L1 on the Bitcoin time chain and it's a very precious low memory per block, you know. I mean, don't. What you need to do is to consolidate your UTXOs, which means if you have like I don't know, €100, $100 of Bitcoin, but you deposited them on your address like in 10 times, you have 10 UTXOs. And when you move these like your $100 or euros, you are going to use more space in the block you are going to use for your transaction. And we know that the block space is going to be more and more rare, precious, demanded, used, including for big transactions and so forth. So what you need to do in this case is to have a look at mempool.space, which is, I think, the best website where you can observe what's going on inside the Bitcoin time chain. And the first thing you see on the screen, apart from the block themselves, is underneath the sats per vbyte cost. So it's basically the cost of the space used inside the block. So if you move $1 billion with one UTXO, the transaction will cost you less than $100 transaction with 10 UTXOs. Because it's not the amount, because it's just information. It's the number of UTXOs you use. So this is just a very simple way to put it. So from time to time, look at the UTX have a look on mempool.space, and when it's low, like in the 20, 30s sats per vbyte, take the opportunity to move. Also because during the bull run, this number tends to go up. And now, although it's where we are at all-time highs, everybody's still sleeping. So the mempool is quite empty. So it might be a good moment to do it.
Definitely, I think it's a great way to do it now. And I think this is like one of the topics, like UTXO management comes up more and more in the podcast. Also, it comes up more and more in general in the Bitcoin community, and it's just another thing that Bitcoiners with self-responsibility have to learn over time. Like we have self custody, we have UTXO management, then you have if you want to go the privacy route, or you have to go the privacy route because where you live, then there's no KYC and coin mixing, maybe important. Multi-signature is like part of the self custody solutions. Perfect. Let's change a little bit the tone. What do you think? Like, it's interesting for me, and maybe it's also interesting for you. There's still a lot of altcoins out there. There's still a lot of shitcoining out there, and I ask myself from time to time, why? Like, if we really see in there, there are some where you can make an argument. Okay, there's a use case, but it's inefficient, and maybe there's a better solution to it. Do you see, first of all, you are Bitcoin only, or are you not?
Yes. So I still have a small bag of the last cycle. I admit it because we are in the admitting period where people say, "Ah, yeah, I admit I have MicroStrategy." I still have one bag of just one crypto coin that I didn't sell, so I just let it go. But let's say that I, I didn't buy any recently, and so I think that going into the crypto land route is very difficult to avoid when you start into crypto land. Crypto land meaning including Bitcoin. You just, crypto. What is it? I buy some, or maybe I buy only Bitcoin because I heard about it, and then I see that Bitcoin is performing in the bull run, of course, because uh, you're not going to buy cryptos during the bear market, right? You're not. You are going to buy them when TV starts talking about Bitcoin. So you buy your Bitcoin and then you see, oh, Solana is going more up and so forth. So you just diversify your crypto portfolio, let's say, and greed takes you here and you're going to get wrecked. So I think that 99% of Bitcoin maxis are people who got wrecked by crypto during their journey. I am one of them. Leverage also. So sticking to crypto, one question that we could ask is this bull run going to be as crypto-ish as before? Because 21, I mean, from 2015 to 2021, it was, I think, the Cambrian explosion era. Like billions of years ago, when life appeared on Earth, you had an immense quantity of forms of life blossoming, and not all of them went through. Survived, and I think that crypto is a bit what's happening to Bitcoin. You cannot avoid it because humans again are humans, and they're going to be tempted on one side to scam the others, and on the other side to make more money, which means to make more fiat, which means you don't understand Bitcoin. Because the goal is to have more Bitcoin and less fiat. And crypto is more part of fiat than part of, it's closer to fiat than to Bitcoin for sure.
Yeah, for me, it's just like we have the fiat kind of mindset and kind of system, and we have Bitcoin mindset and system. And the only difference between fiat and crypto is that fiat is stored on centralized database entries,
Yeah,
and crypto is stored on centralized blockchain technology. Like it's not decentralized. It's just a different way to store data. So actually, for me, crypto is just an inefficient way
yeah,
of having fiat. It
yeah,
makes
yeah,
absolute
yeah,
no sense for me.
yeah. I mean, there's a like a. It's not even a meme actually. It's like you have a diagram where do you need a native digital native internet money? No, you don't need blockchain. Then, if yes, Bitcoin is the only blockchain that works.
Yes,
So this is the end
100%.
of the diagram.
Yeah, that's a crazy one.
Yeah, and then again, you could say that crypto is to Bitcoin what the internet bubble was to the internet in 2000, which means when people founded company or added .com to the name of the companies, in the same way they add blockchain to the current company or Web3 to the current companies, VCs, money would flow in. But in the end, after the bubble, what remained? The protocol. TCP/IP, internet didn't give a damn about the internet bubble. The protocol, the better idea was present, and it thrived naturally because, and bottom up also, and not top down or market down. Of our markets, I mean Yeah, bottom up is the way, and Bitcoin is the same. Like every cycle, you have new fluff, new stuff, but Bitcoin is the only one that goes up and up and up because it's the better idea. So I think it's a respectable way to make a parallel.
Amazing. And we're coming closer to the end of the podcast, and I would have two questions. The one question is from me, and then we have the end routine where the previous guest asked you a question, and they're kind of related, but I will still ask them separately. Would you say has Bitcoin contributed to your life besides the financial aspects, besides number graph technology, besides just having better money?
Yeah, but first of all, unfortunately, yesterday I went on the Lago di Fimon here on a boat, and I lost it all. But before that, um, uh, I, a nice way to illustrate what it did to me, like you know that we say that Bitcoin changes you, is like since I have worked for about 20 years in corporates, LinkedIn was my natural ecosystem, you know. So since like the late night, no, early 2000s, maybe. I mean, yeah, I was quite early in LinkedIn, and so I see that my behavior on LinkedIn, which is like really peak fiat, politically correct, and so forth, has changed radically because when you have Bitcoin, you can afford being yourself because you're not scared anymore of what your employer or potential clients or what could think of you, or you're not scared of what they could do to you or whatever, which doesn't mean that you're going to lack respect to people. Of course, the respect will be there, but truth will come out of your mouth a lot easier. So when people deserve a little bit of toxicity, that's okay. Also because I say that toxicity is a bit like cod liver oil. It tastes bad, but it's good for you. I'm here to help you. If you want to open your eyes, you have to open your ears before. Please listen to me. You don't have to. So to answer your question, LinkedIn is just I can observe really day by day that it changes you because you can be yourself.
Amazing. It's I think when you have Bitcoin and you actually stand to yourself and stand to the truth, you become more respected long term because you said like the respect is a thing, and I think maybe short term people are looking weird to you, but long term they will respect you so much more because you stood up for something. And I always respect people, even though they sometimes stand up for stuff that I don't like. But even though they stand up for stuff that I don't like, I respect the hell out of them that they are standing up for something. They are not
Yeah,
like a grass that just moves in the wind, something like that. Yeah. And we're having an end routine where the previous guest asked a question for the next guest. And the previous guest asks you a very broad question, which has nothing to do with Bitcoin. What is the meaning of life for you?
very broad question. I think that it's to gain, become wise. We talked about it with my wife the other day, by the way. What is wisdom to you? She asked me. Broad question, and I think that it comes with the experience, observation, and experience. So you're not going to get to be born wise. I think when you imagine a wise person, you imagine an old person more than a young one. So I think that the meaning of life would be do things, also because it's doing things rather than thinking too much is a way of gaining self-awareness, self-confidence, to find better your place in the world. And I think that Bitcoin allows you to do things you like to do or you're good at in an easier way, because you are freer de facto, you know. So I'm
Yeah,
not sure I can bring a better short answer to that very broad question.
yeah. I think this is like a question you can talk another 2 hours for. So we will keep it at that, and maybe we
But
can.
I managed to put Bitcoin in the
I,
answer. That's
yeah,
the important thing.
I was expecting maybe like the meaning of life is to gain more Bitcoin.
Yeah. It's part of it, of course.
It was an amazing podcast. It was unconventionally, but it was really, really cool with someone outside walking. This is the first podcast. You're the seventh, 73 guests. Like I'm approaching the 100 guest mark. And it's the first one outside. Maybe I will do it also one day where we like have a setup outside. And yeah, thank you for doing it. This is
So
Italy, right?
this is the Colli Berici. Today it's a bit like not much light. It's close to Vicenza. It's about 1 hour away from Venice, and there's a beautiful lake down there,
Mm,
which is older. It looks like a pond, but it's older than the Lake Garda actually. And yeah, it's a very nice little place here, to be honest.
really, really cool.
So
Then
thank you very much for having me. It was I really looked forward to it, because you can see that you're a good guy. Bitcoiners are good guys always, but it's been really pleasant. Thank you very much.
perfect. Thank you. And for people that want to get to know you, want to ask you questions, where can people reach out to you?
Yes. So Noster, I can't remember my NPub, but I am Noster on the name of Noof Smith. So it's Nouf Smith in one word, and it's the same on Twitter, on X, Nouf Smith. And on LinkedIn, there are thousands of Stefan Smith. So you just put Stefan Smith with an F, Stefan with an F, Smith, Bitcoin, and you're going to find me.
Perfect. Thank
Actually, you're not going to find me these days, because I was kicked out of LinkedIn for the seventh time recently, and I'm doing my seventh appeal.
Oh, I
So
saw it because when I was researching you, I saw on the Bitcoin Advisory website your profile, and there was a link to LinkedIn, and then
yeah,
it's like site not available. So I was like, maybe something went
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. So I have to apologize to Peter and Andy on that. But on LinkedIn, you do you as a Bitcoiner, and sometimes Bitcoin is a theme it it can happen, and it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, seven, really, really cool. Like it's an growing number.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But
And
it's nice to see, just to conclude, that LinkedIn is Twitterizing. You see that people are becoming more and more, there are more and more Bitcoiners, and it's a popular mm, social network. So it's improving.
yeah,
It's still censored, though, so that's an issue.
definitely. I recently made my first LinkedIn post. So that was interesting to see. But I'm not active there. But people write me even there. Oh, I enjoyed your podcast and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, let's at least make one post. So there's the
Yeah.
feed is not completely empty.
Okay.
Perfect.
That's signal. That's signal.
That's it. Yeah. Perfect. And Stefan, thank you. And
Thank you,
we'll
Robin.
see you soon.
Okay. Thanks
Bye
a lot.
bye.
Take care. Ciao. Bye.